There is nothing quite like the elation of spotting the perfect plant at the garden centre, but it's not in its regular spot. Oh no, it's in the discount area at a fraction of its original price. But don't just leave it to chance. If you know where to look, when to look, and most importantly, what to look for, there are some serious bargains to be had. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top tips on how to grab those bargains for yourself. Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome back. Check out this little lot behind me. They're ornamental grasses. A lot of ornamental grasses, and I didn't pay full price for a single one of them. I've been picking these up over the last few weeks and months because I'm planning on making some really big changes to these beds in the front garden that, of course, I'm going to bring you along with as I work on them over the coming weeks and months. But it got me thinking, grabbing yourself a plant bargain feels so good, but it really does help to know what things to look out for, both good and bad. So why do it? Well, at the most basic level, it is a great way of minimizing your expenditure when it comes to buying plants for the garden. Or the flip side of that is that you can buy more plants for the same amount of money that you would do for fewer. Now, that is always my preference, which isn't exactly a surprise. As you can see, when it comes to plants, I cannot ever resist a bargain, and I'm going to show you just how much money you can save. This is a really lovely Miscanthus sinensis. Should have been €10.99 retail, €3. This is Miscanthus haiku. Should have been €10.95. I got it for a fiver. This is Miscanthus Red Chief. This should have been €12.99. I got it for €4. And best of all, I have two of these. These are Pennisetum alopecuroides Hamlin. These, wait for it, should have been €20 each, or well, $19.99, and I got them for a fiver each. Bargains are incredible. Quite often when you buy a plant, particularly a flowering one, it's been propagated, it's been pushed on, and it's been grown so that it will be flowering or looking fantastic in the shop at the point of sale. But when you pick up a plant off the bargain shelf, quite often it's in its more natural state for that time of year, like these grasses at this point in spring. They'll be correct for their phase of development, and that's actually more healthy. Buying plants from the bargain shelf also helps to reduce waste. Imagine all of the materials, the carbon emissions, the money, and the people's time and effort that has gone into just this one pot that you buy. But of course, best of all, bargain plants just feel great. Getting a bargain does feel great, doesn't it? Okay, so first up, let's talk about where to look. Well, the quick and easy answer to that is everywhere and often. Regular trips to your favourite garden centres and places that sell plants will quite simply increase your chances of spotting that unmissable bargain like this. You've got to be there to be in with a chance of grabbing something great, and more importantly, grabbing it before someone else does. But my big recommendation is, rather than going to garden centres, check out home and hardware stores. That's because garden centres often have more staffing and knowledge that allows them to care for plants on an ongoing basis, looking after them, keeping them good through the year, and that means that they reduce their own wastage. However, large hardware stores don't, in my opinion, have the same resources to do that all the way through the year. They often just want to turn plants around, get them out and sell them as quickly as possible. A plant that doesn't look the best, something like this, isn't going to sell for a while. So in their eyes, it's got to go. But that means rich pickings for you if you know what to look for. When it comes to when to look, obviously all the time. But my key recommendation is think about seasonality, because that's going to influence really what the garden centres are having to get rid of, because they're not going to look that pretty. So if you think about it, annuals towards the end of their flowering season, when they're looking a bit tired, they are most likely going to be on the bargain aisle. Or perennials and grasses at early springtime, well, they're most likely going to be there because they're still looking a little bit tatty at the back end of the winter and into early spring. So if you have a rough idea of what you would like to find, think about the seasonality of the plant when it's not going to be looking so great, and go and have a look around the garden centres and the hardware stores, because you're more likely to find the type of plant that you're after. What to look for when you're looking at plants? Well, part one of what to look for is about the physical. Ask yourself, if this was in my garden right now, what should it look like? In the case of these grasses, this is exactly what they should look like. It's spring, there's last year's dead growth, but there's also new, green, fresh growth emerging from the base. Perfect. So if you think that it looks right for the time of year, next, pick up the pot, lift it and feel, does it feel heavy or very light? Very light suggests that it's dry, and in my mind, that is a warning sign. If it's dry now, you don't know how often or how long it's been left to get dry before. The next thing is have a look at the overall condition and decide, is it in good condition? But again, bearing in mind what it should look like at the time of year that you're buying it. So in this example, I think this is in good condition. It's nice and strong. It's a good size. Then the other thing is just have a look and decide, is it the form that you want? And if it's not quite the shape or the form that you want, do you think that there's the possibility of being able to clip it or prune it into that form? Okay, part two of what to look for is actually all about your own mindset. Over the years, whether it's food, plants, household items, you name it, we have become conditioned to expecting to buy a perfect item every time. And presented with a selection of things, we're always going to pick out the nicest looking ones, the most perfect looking ones. So when you get to that discount trolley of plants, you need to steel yourself, draw on your inner strength and look past the ugliness. It's a little bit like buying a house actually. It's a future investment, and that's the mindset that you want to be interested in. Even if it's a little bit run down looking at the time, it could be a great investment. So think about that future and see whether you think the plant that you're holding has a good chance of succeeding. Does it just need a little bit of a trim or a tidy up? Is there a damaged section that could easily be cut off to improve the plant? Or just like tree pruning, think of 4 key factors: dead, diseased, damaged, and crossing. Remove all of those, and do you think it'll be a good plant? Or for clump-forming plants like this, does it actually just need to be divided to rejuvenate it? The added bonus is that if it needs divided, you get even more cheap plants and even more of a bargain. In summary, here are my power moves when it comes to making good plant choices. I've put power moves on the screen because with my Northern Irish accent, I'm willing to bet that most of you are wondering what I'm saying. Power. Power? Power. Power moves. Power moves. So, perennials and grasses, in the spring and autumn, they naturally die back. They look tired and a little bit ugly, but they're perfectly good, so snap them up if you can. Annuals, beware of discount annuals because they already have a short enough lifespan as it is. If they've been really neglected or left to dry out too much, the plant could easily be mega stressed. And when you plant it into your garden, well, it may just not perform for you. Or you put it in a container, it's going to stay weedy, it may just panic flower, go to seed and die. Evergreens do not automatically grow back when cut back, depending on the plant that you get. So just bear that in mind when you're purchasing. If the plant that you spot on discount is in really bad shape, you might not manage to get it turned around into something that you want or will cherish. And finally, trees and woody shrubs. Just like evergreens, if the bargain you spot is anything woody, make sure that it either has a good form already or you're really confident that some pruning and work on it is going to result in a good form. So you have been, you have purchased, and now your plant is home. Just like this little miscanthus haiku, or at least it's little now. It's going to be about 1.8 meters when it's full size. And that means you need to know what to do when you get your plant home. So for me, the big first thing to do is give it a really good drink. Unless you're certain that the compost is really well watered, either give it a water, or if you think that it is bone dry and you've decided to buy the plant, give it a good long soak so that it gets plenty of moisture. That's going to really help it grow and improve for you. Next thing is have a look and see, does it need any remedial action at this stage? In this case, a grass, yes it does. It needs to be cleared. So I've lost my secateurs. Where are my secateurs? Where are my secateurs? Secateurs, that's better. So I was talking about remedial action. In this case, what we want to do is clear away any of the dead material, and that is so easy to do. All you need to do is start clipping away with your secateurs and removing all of that dead material. Now, if you're concerned about not knowing quite what to do with the plant that you have, just Google it and have a look at what you would need to do with that plant at the time of year that you've bought it. And you can see that really quickly, as you clip it away, it starts to improve. And to give you an example, here are grasses that nothing has been done to them yet. And here's one that's been clipped down, and you can see already the green growth is starting to come through. And then finally, once you've worked on them, it's really good to make sure that they have lots of nutrition, because you don't know how long they've been living in this pot and they may have exhausted their compost. So either get them planted out into the soil as soon as possible or into the container of your choice. Have I convinced you yet about the benefits of bargain plants? I hope I have, but one big word of caution, and it's probably some good advice for life. Just remember that a bargain is only a bargain if you actually want or need it. That's a phrase that gets used in my family, and I think it's really true. Don't be seduced into buying things that you actually don't need just because it feels good knowing that you're getting a big discount off them. I don't want to be responsible for you all going out and buying a whole load of plants that you don't need just because they're cheap. So there you have it, my top tips and tricks for when it comes to spotting a really good plant bargain when you're out at the garden centre or the hardware store. But just remember that all of these tips and tricks are also really good if you're just buying regular plants as well. Follow my simple steps and I am fairly certain you're going to find your own precious plant at a fraction of the price. Now, as ever, if you're wanting to watch something else, here are 2 really good videos that I think you're going to enjoy. And until next time, see you later.